Cup.
Centennial Cup champions in 2024.
What's going on, everybody? This is the OJHL All Access Podcast. Alex Bastiavansky here with our returning guest, Joe Washkurak. Guys, we thought that maybe Mike Galati was going to knock him out of the lineup. And Joe was going to be a reserve, but we decided he was too important, so he's back. Wow. We actually invited Mike tonight, but Mike unfortunately couldn't make it to be alongside for Joe. And we've got Ron Valentine, feature OJHL writer, and Alan Corkum, who does it seems like everything these days, including hosting for your TV. And Alan, you got a lot to add. You're going to have some exciting viewpoint for the finals coming up in a little bit in Milton. So we'll get to that in just a second. First of all, how's everybody doing, guys?
Good,
thanks. How about you, Bass?
I can't complain. I've got my skis ready. I'm going up to Whistler tomorrow. Actually, to do a little. I know. It's a quick little 2-day trip though, because I got to.
Not melted yet?
No. Whistler's still in
mid-April.
No, in the Alpine, people can ski into May in Whistler on the glacier. So it's open. Nice. So I'm doing okay. I'm feeling pretty good, guys.
No kidding.
Yeah, but I mean, the only thing that would make it better is if I could also fly back and watch this momentous series that's about to.
It's going to be a good one. It's
going to be good, isn't it, guys?
Yeah.
Let's just get right into it. Looking at, I mean, okay, Joe, you weren't on the show the last one where we set up the semis, but Mike threw his 2 cents. We all thought these were going to be long series. Long drawn out series between Milton, Leamington, between Trenton and Haliburton. It just didn't happen. No. 2 5-game series. I'm surprised. I think you guys are surprised. First of all, just jump in, guys. I mean, what did you think? I mean, how shocked were you?
I think we all predicted longer than the series actually took. I mean, when you think of the whole playoffs, 7 4-1. 4 4-0 and 3 4-2 series. I mean, that would be pretty hard to predict, knowing how close everybody was.
Yeah.
But not having seen all the games, I'm sure there was, things happening in games, puck bounces, and line combinations. Coaches make different changes, so on and so forth. But I think the teams you were saying before, Alex, the 2 teams that are here we're destined to be here. Look at Trenton, 97 points in the regular season, and Milton's been on fire for the last 2 or 3 months. So I mean, you couldn't ask for a better matchup, really.
Trenton, I mean, number 1 in the CJHL for a good portion of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was messaging back and forth with Rick Morocco from the league last week, saying if these things go 7 days, because originally the show was going to come out on a certain date, and I was like, if this goes 7 games. Which we even 6 games, which we anticipated these were going to go, we might have to push back the show a little bit because you want to make sure the series are done before we put our finals preview out. And the next thing I'm messaging you guys on a Sunday night with everything done, saying, guys, how quickly can you get together here? Because none of us expected this, right? But so let's do this. Let's start off with Joe, and we'll do our usual circle here.
Sure.
Let's start off with the Milton series, guys, against Leamington, which I mean we were obviously really, really looking forward to. Leamington, the Stings. There's no question about it. I mean, they for the biggest part of the season, guys, they were the favorites in the Western Conference to make it to the Buckland Cup final.
I agree.
Right? The team they had put together, the veteran guys, led by Colton Smith. There was just so many pieces that were that were so strong on this squad, and ultimately they go down in 5 games to Milton. Now let's start with Joe, because Joe, from our very first preview of the first round, Joe was the first guy to say, "Look, in my opinion, Milton is the team. Milton is the dark horse," and he thought they were going to go on a serious run. They did, but Joe, give us your. I got to shut up here. Give us your thoughts on that series. And were you shocked at how quickly that Milton was able to close it out?
Oh, I think all four of us would be. Like, I didn't think it was going to be a 5-game series, and Leamington to lose 3 games on home ice and within a week, like they lost 1 game all year.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, but I watch those games just because I have some interest in both teams in our division. And Milton's just playing so heavy, so hard. And you got to look at, and I want to talk about Carter Bickle for a little bit. Listen, he beat out Michael Newlove, who's now with the Windsor Spitfires, right? Mm-hmm. Next series, they beat out Taguilar, who's on the NHL draft list, right?
Just got listed, 29th, I think, overall.
And he goes and beats Marcus Vandenberg, who is a GA, like, goals against average champion, goalie of the year. Like, this guy's been out of his mind. And I mentioned him. I have a soft spot. He played with us in Oshawa. He actually played some games with the Chargers too, and unbelievable kid. So to me, getting ahead of ourselves, to me, it'll just go between Bickle and Trenton's goaltending, whose name escapes me. But that's what it's going to come down to, guys. I think it'll come down to goalies. That's just
let's not preview.
Yeah, you want to stop? I'll stop.
I want to get more from you as the coach, Joe.
Yeah.
What did Milton do that was able to turn the tide in this series? Because Leamington did grab 1 game at the Madhouse in Milton,
which I was.
The series was 1-1.
Which I'm shocked about that that Leamington beat them there. To be honest,
and then they lose
the
other games at home. Crazy,
And I thought with the big ice, and we taught, and I know I wasn't on, but the big ice versus the small ice, and as I said, guys, like Dan's doing a great job. They've bought in, and like they just have so much depth, and I don't know what happened to Leamington. Dale Mitchell's a hell of a coach, and they had a hell of a team, but I don't want to they just ran them into the ground, fellas. They're a big, heavy, mean. I told you guys this before. Milton's a mean hockey team. They hack and slash. They cross check you. They chirp at you. Like, I love it, and that's how they're winning. And I just don't know if Leamington could match that. And Leamington has an older team, fellas. Like, let's face it, they're one of the older teams in the league. And it really started when they lost game 1. I thought they were in trouble right off the bat, guys.
Right.
When Milton went there and beat them in game 1,
they punched them in the nose right on their home ice, in front of those great Leamington crowds.
Leamington was off for 7-8 days, and I really think that kills your momentum. And then you lose, and then you go down 2 games to nothing. And no, they did tie it up 1. Yeah, they did tie it up.
Tied it up 1-1. Yeah,
but I still don't think they played great. Like Colton Smith kind of carried him a little bit, and no disrespect to anybody. Dale's a good coach, and Justin won GM of the year for 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Vanderberg was still good, but Milton's on a roll, fellas, and we've seen this at every level. All it takes is a little bit of a roll, and that's what they're on 100%. And this is a mean team, and they're playing really hard.
So I was just going to say, I feel for Leamington. They have been so awesome in this league since coming on board.
No doubt.
Such a well-run organization. I'm not going to shed too many tears, though, because they've got Mitchell, because they've got the executive of the year, because they've got that great facility and those fans, and they are in the most fertile area for hockey, maybe on the planet.
It's up there.
They are going to reload. That's
sure.
it. There's not.
They'll be back.
They are going to be right back there next season. But Alan, you had one of the best seats in the house.
Yep.
You were there for your TV, covering these games. What did you see in that series?
Wow, yeah. First off, I just want to say congratulations, Leamington, on a great season. Dale Mitchell's always been accommodating to me every game before, talking about some strategy, the scratches and stuff. So he's always been good. So kudos to that organization. They had a great run, but just they ran into, I guess, no doubt pun intended, a menace. Milton were just that dominant. I think in this series, I would say Leamington only played 1 good period. That was the first period of game 2. They were up 3-0. Yeah. They were dominating. Colton Smith had a couple of goals. And then Milton almost came back and won that game. It was 3-2. Leamington had to hang on to win that. So I think it was just all Milton. The 2 keys in the series to me, depends if you see the glass half full or half empty. If you see it half empty, Leamington's power play 0 for 17 in 5 games. 17 opportunities with that firepower, and you can't score.
That's one of the most mind-blowing stats, guys. But that's one of the most mind-blowing stats. I mean, we know they were lethal, Leamington. So to have a stat like that is just crazy. Sorry, go on though, Alan, but Bickle?
No problem. Yeah, they were 0 for 6 in game 4 alone, where they were trying to make a comeback. That was the key. They had a 5-on-3 lengthy to start the third. Milton killed it off. They got the go-ahead goal by, I'd say, the number one pest in the OJHL, Ashton Pacheco. He scored some key goals. He's like a Brad Marchand. He'll get in the face of everybody. He'll chirp a lot. He'll slash and whack. But that's the player you want on your team, and you don't want to play against. So Pacheco's really a little bit of an underdog for that team. But somebody don't talk about it a lot, but I think you'll see a lot of him in the Trenton series. Going back to the other key, Carter Bickle, 8 goals against in 5 games, 30-plus saves, I think mostly every game. Again, he was the key. As Joe said, he had him in the Oshawa Generals, a little bit of the Mississauga Chargers.
Yeah.
Also playing with the Charlottetown Islanders in the Q League.
Yeah.
Started a bit rough this year with King, but when he gained the Milton, he became a different goalie on another level. He had 2 shutouts to start the Collingwood series, was 30 seconds away from getting a shutout in the clinching game 5 on Sunday night. They scored a late one, but they still won 2-1. So Bickle is just on another level right now. And the penalty kill of Milton is excellent. If they keep this up, Trenton got to watch the tape to see how they can score in this power play. Milton can't give them too many opportunities, but we know their penalty kill is very strong. Yeah. The best penalty killer is in their goal right now, Carter Bickle.
Well said.
Ron, did you make it out to some of the games?
Yeah, I agree with Alan. And in that pivotal game there, when Leamington went ahead, 3-0 in the first period, but for the rest of the game, for the other 40 minutes, Milton really dominated the game. Could have, with any luck, won that game too. But I was thinking, the country I was brought up in, England, soccer's the big thing, and winning the regular season is very important. Winning the regular season is what it's all about. Finishing as high as you can. The cup, or what we call the playoffs, is run at the same time, concurrently. Now here we're focused on, it's all the playoffs. You got to give credit for Leamington for that fantastic regular season that they had. 2 wins and 2 losses, 2 losses and 2 ties at home in the regular season. I mean, that's playing tremendous hockey. And second overall to Trenton. The Flyers, they shouldn't be hanging their heads. I'm sure they'll be back just as strong for next season, and probably end up being one of the favorites, to take it, because
I agree.
They'll bounce back for sure. But they were just up against a team that everybody said that that they're a focused team. They know exactly what they want to do. And when you're running a power play of 36%, that's awful tough. That's awful tough.
It is tough. Yeah.
They just caught lightning in a bottle, didn't they, down the stretch this season, guys? I mean, the whole second half of the season, but and I'll say it again, we always keep laughing about how the OJ coaches know in that coaches poll, they where they had them ranked. They gave respect to that Milton team, like you said, Joe, as well. Like you right off the bat said Milton, so but we have got to set up who Milton's going to play, because first we got to talk about Trenton, Haliburton, another series, guys, that I think most of us, I think I said 7, but I mean, we thought it was going to be at least 6 games this series. And I mean, Haliburton had a really, really good team this year. And once again, we see, we see the Hawks coming out in 5 games, close games again, close games,
some overtime games, right?
But like when I messaged Ron earlier in the day on Sunday and said, I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, but there's a chance that we might, we might know tonight who the combatants are for the final. And Ron said, don't count your chickens yet, or whatever. Because I did think that Haliburton was gonna win that Sunday game. But 5 games, guys. So let's start again with Coach Joe. And Joe, your thoughts on the series and what Trenton did.
Yeah, like I didn't watch a ton of that just because I was watching the other series, and we only played Trenton once, but just have to look at their past 10, 20 years since they've been in the league, coaching, staff, some with Derek Smith, former pro, great hockey coach, fan support, really good depth. They got Theo, they got a bunch of guys there, hey, this is a really good team. Their goaltending's really good too. And an older team too. Haliburton's an older team, but I was, we said it. I'm surprised by both series. They were close games though, fellas. And Haliburton, Ryan Ramsey does a great job. Good fan support. Since they moved from Whitby, that's a really tough place to play. And they pack, guys, they pack it up there. There's 500-600 strong.
Yeah.
And just to give them a little bit, they didn't play in their home rink either, fellas. Like they did get moved out of their rink, and I don't think that really helped them either. I don't want to give excuses for Ryan because he won't take them or their players, but that is a little unsettling. Let's face it. But give all the credit to Trenton and that's a good hockey team over there, obviously, and I'm looking forward. This is I don't know. This is going to be a hell of a hockey series, guys.
Yep. Alan, how about you?
Well, it's a third straight Eastern Conference title for Trenton. Congratulations to them. But the last two times they've had to play Collingwood and they've lost. Will third time be the charm? We'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, as I think it was Mike that said on the last podcast about how both series he thought could go maybe 4 or 5 games, be short, or they could be long but he said it could be just a bounce here and a bounce there. And like Joe just said, both series were pretty close games despite being done in 5. This one here, 2 games went to overtime. Haliburton got 1 overtime win. Trenton got 1.
Yeah.
And the other game, Trenton won, I believe, was a 1-goal game. And then there were the 2 that were 2-goal, but each game had an empty netter. But I think the return of David Fournier really spurred the Golden Hawks on. He came back from late in that series against Stouffville. He played this whole series and showed how good he was. Corbin Roach is one of the top scorers right now in the OJHL playoffs. He's having a great playoff. Teo Artichuk. And they also got a couple of reinforcements come in from Junior B, Ethan Quick. And Najim, I believe is his name. So
that helps, guys.
A couple of veterans there as well. And then the goaltending of Ryan Sanborn. He's just below Carter Bickle in the stats. He's been standing on his head for Trenton, giving him some key saves and some key victories at key moments. So Trenton, this is their 3rd trip in a row. They don't want to be disappointed for a 3rd time. It's going to be a great series. But kudos to Haliburton. They had a veteran team, a bounce here and a bounce there. It might have been a different series. It might have been a longer series, but Trenton just has the depth and a little more veteran savvy, and they got the bounces when they need them, and they got the big wins in 1 and 5. So Golden Hawks, we'll see what happens. 2 great arenas are going to be rocking in the Buckland Cup Championship. Hangar in Trenton, Madhouse in Milton.
Yeah, Trenton's it's going to be interesting because Golden Hawks fans will take over arenas. They travel well. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in Milton because
really
Milton's been getting
Trenton too. They're right over the players in Trenton too. It's a very tight confine.
For sure, tight. But I mean Milton's been getting over 1,000 fans, per game in the playoffs. So Trenton fans are going to have to get there pretty early, right? So we'll see what happens. It's going to be a great atmosphere.
Be interesting.
Ron, what was your takeaway from the series, Ron?
Yeah, like Joe, I didn't see a lot of the games, but I did follow it closely on the internet, and it does seem like Trenton got the goals when they needed them.
Yeah,
I think it was probably overall closer than a 4-1 series.
Yeah,
but in the end, Trenton prevailed as they have been doing right through the playoffs by scoring goals when they needed, with Sanborn coming up with the big saves when they needed, and Haliburton did play, as Joe said, in the other rink. Now, that doesn't sound like a big deal because you're only going from Minden to Haliburton, but it's a change of scenery, a change of areas where you're training. A lot of things are different.
Yeah.
And the ice storm up there, I mean, not only that, weather-wise, just paralyzed everything. But, I mean, you can't give it excuses, but, I mean, that happened, and they hung in there. So,
Joe,
most people are calling for Trenton to win the series, and which they did, and they just have that. They had that wave coming through, and they did it again.
Yeah,
Joe, I was just going to say, Joe, I know that you can attest to this and explain this for anyone who hasn't played at a high level. But I mean, this is pretty much the same for any sports. When you take a home team out of its environment, their home dressing room, their home ice, where everything is comfortable, where they've got their groove, that is a big thing. Right. Because I mean, just talk about that for a second. Like when that happens, of course, there was nothing they could do about it, but I don't think that can be, what's the word I'm looking for here, but let's not undersell that about just how impactful that could have been. Right. Joe?
Yeah, I agree. Like, as I said, like those guys up there aren't going to use that for an excuse, but you're not playing a home game, fellas, if that makes sense to you now, right? Like it's not a home ice advantage. Okay, yes, you get last change, but you've never played. I'm sure they practice on there, but I've seen their facility in Haliburton. Like their dressing room is just absolutely massive. They have everything there. You're used to the bounces. You're used to being in comfort. Now you got to drive to Haliburton. Like, I don't want to use an excuse, and I know they won't, but let's give them a little bit of credit too. Like that was a really, that's a kick in the butt, guys, when that happens. But what are you going to do? Right, fellas? What are you going to do?
You got to adapt, but like you said, every little nuance, every little bounce on your home ice, and to have that taken away. No, and I know they would; those guys are not going to use excuses, but I'm using one for them in the sense that maybe it wouldn't have made a difference in the series overall, but there is that. I wouldn't discount that. It was unfortunate. So. But Ron, I did sort of interrupt you there. So was there anything else you wanted to add, or were you all finished there?
That was what I was pointing out, was that disruption. As small as it may seem to some people, I think it was pretty big for them.
I agree.
Yeah. But listen, we've got the team that's been number one in the OJHL for most of the season anyway. Number one in the CJHL rankings for much of the season. We've got Trenton, we've got Milton. I feel it's the last 2 years were some pretty epic series with Collingwood and Trenton going toe to toe. It's just great every year. Like, it seems like these are just getting, I mean, shoot, that Collingwood team last year was phenomenal, but this is going to be right up there, I think. Now, I know maybe it's a 4-game series, but I don't think so. Maybe they're going to prove us wrong. But again, I think this is going to be one that's going to be just a knockdown, drag out series. Trenton is physical as well. But during the regular season, guys, one game, they only played once. It was at the Governor's Showcase. 5-1. Milton took it back on September 24th. So that's it between these squads. I'm sure they've been watching a ton of video. But that's it. I can't wait for it. Joe, take us through your thoughts first on how this series sets up.
Well, let's throw that game out September 24th. Like, that's feels like a year ago now. Does that make any sense? So there'd be so many personnel changes. So throw that right out. Dan's going to go into into Trenton, and there's going to be whacking and slashing before they drop the puck, just like that fight they had in Leamington the other night. Like, guys, that's old school stuff right there. You don't see that too often, right? And I think Milton really wants to win this, and it's going to be nasty because both teams are like that. Derek Smith's a pro, and Dan Del Monte was a very good player in his day, and this should be a knock him out, drag him out fight. Do not miss anything. If you're in those cities, go. If not, I guess I'm going to give a plug to Flow Hockey here, and make sure you watch Al on
your TV.
I live in Oakville, and I get the best of both worlds here on the road and home, and those guys do a great job, and this should be a lot of fun. That's all I'm going to say. It should be fantastic.
Yep. Alan, what are you thinking?
Well, it's like Mike said on the last show, Dan Del Monte made 2 key acquisitions during the season in the trade deadline. The first was Luke Johnson, getting him from the Junior Canadians for Gabe Chiarello. Johnson did not play in this game in September, so he'll be a new add for Milton. Another one is Carter Bickle. He was brought in from King, the veteran goalie, and like I said, he was doing okay in King, but not getting the numbers. He didn't have much of his team in front of him, no disrespect, as he does in Milton. And when he got to Milton, he just went on a roll. I think he had 3 shutouts in his first 4 or 5 games, and he didn't play well, and it's carried on through the playoffs. So these two are going to really be something for Milton. Trenton's got a great team. He's had his 3rd straight trip to the Buckland Cup Championship. They were there a couple of years, back in the days when we were covering George St. Alex. They were there as well, always a thorn in the Raiders' side, winning one, losing one, and then they beat the Raiders, though, at the Dudley Hewitt in 2017, so they got the revenge there. But Trenton's back to the winning ways, so we'll see what happens. But they have a
that hurts.
Still stings that one.
Trenton,
Yeah, no, it was. Trenton has not won a Buckland Cup since 2015, 2016,
which
guys.
Is shocking.
Isn't that crazy to think about?
Shocking.
Because they're there every year, it feels like. At least making the final. If they don't make the final, they're disappointed, let alone.
Oh, for sure.
Like not
year.
winning. It's let alone not winning the Buckland. It is crazy. It's 9 seasons now. Like, that's crazy to think about. But by the way, quick Dan Del Monte thing before I forget. The first time I ever saw Dan Del Monte play was at the Streetsville Tyke tournament when he was 12 years old, I believe. And so, unless it's a different really Dan Del Monte, but I don't think he was. He was playing for Flamborough, I believe, because he's from Burlington, and I think it was Flamborough. But and then I heard about Dan Del Monte through the years, and I was like, oh, that's the same Dan Del Monte. Look back, sure enough, from Burlington. You're younger than me. And so, yeah, no, pretty cool that, his involvement with the league over the years too. He was, I believe he was the MVP of the tournament. He was an
a
amazing
good player. Had a great career in Europe, and his son was born over there in Germany. And I think Brian plays. But the Del Monte family, guys, is a huge family in minor hockey, and they're a massive family, and they're a really good family. They're good people, no question.
No, really cool, and really neat to see, how well he's doing, in a coaching capacity. Ron, I know you're going to be there watching some games. What are you thinking?
I'm looking at the breaking down the goalies. Sanborn came a completely different route to the OJHL than Bickle did. Went to the Hill prep school and played in BCHL for a little while. Floated around a little bit in the States. He played in Trenton. The first 17 games he played, he won them all in a row. And Brady Spry and him basically did end up splitting overall, but Sanborn is a go-to goalie. Bickle, as Alan said, with King, he was okay. He's been making the timely saves with Milton for sure. And so from a goalie point of view, I'm going to call it a standoff. From a defensive point of view, I'm going to lean towards Milton simply because they've got an older defense. They may not have the big names, but like Semeniuk and Costanti fly under the radar, and they contribute, they hit, and Milton defensemen have scored 46 points in the playoffs. Trenton defensemen have scored 27 points in the playoffs. Now that doesn't mean that they're the better team, but you look at a stat like that, you will see how much the defenseman can contribute. Up front, I'm going to call it a saw-off in a way, except for the fact that the key injuries that Trenton have right now could, depending on how quickly they can get those players back, could make a difference. Ethan Quick came from Caledonia, spent a long time with the Wellington Dukes. He's been able to fill in. Douglas Najem on defense, same thing, another Caledonia Corvair. He was called up too, and he's been able to fill in. But the momentum overall that they've got going for them right now I think is going to swing it in Milton's direction. The one thing, a home ice advantage, is it going to be an advantage? And over the if it goes a 7-game series, it might well be. You've got two arenas, you've got two great sets of fans, and any other things, it's going to come down to the intangibles, the coaching. Can the coaches make line changes that are perhaps going to influence games if certain players aren't just doing it? Can they switch around and do things that are a little bit different? Will one of the goalies come up bigger than the other one? And I don't want to talk about officiating, but let's just say that the best officials are the ones you don't even notice.
Correct.
Which is the more intimidating atmosphere, guys, do you think? Trenton or Milton? I mean, two rinks that get absolutely jammed. Milton, the Madhouse, the hangar in Trenton, the dunk, whatever you want to call it. But Joe, you've coached in both.
Yeah.
Which do you think?
I think this time it's pretty much a saw-off, in my opinion. I would give a little bit more to the dunk because the fans hang over the boards, and the seats are all the way around, where you just kind of got the one side, and the people that are standing on rink, because it's so packed in there, they have no influence unless they're banging on the glass, right? These people in Trenton, they're hanging over, they're yelling at you, they're screaming at you at the penalty box. I give a slight edge to the dunk, but these Milton fans are fantastic fans too.
That is one thing about the Milton is, you're on the one side. You're also you're elevated away from the glass. The benches are on the other side, whereas in the dunk, the fans are right behind the bench, banging away. I mean, I admire
colorful too.
Wow.
What's that, Alan?
Well, I'm just saying.
Some of them can be very colorful, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're not talking about this right now, but it's some there's some funny lines I've heard in my day. There's no question.
You know what? I will say this: when I was filming in Trenton for I was for the OJ today. I was driving out there and filming games in the final against Georgetown, and during the Dudley, I was filming games that year in 2016, 2017. The organization, first class. giving me, because they had that tough filming position up top, which wasn't available. They set me up on one of the corners. They cordoned it off for me. The fans were awesome, like awesome fans, you know. So I also said some pretty nice things about Trenton, I think, on the OJ today, which maybe helped a little bit, right? But no, man, the fans were great. The organization was great in a very tight environment. I can't say that about every single team I've ever come across, because I filmed everywhere, and you know, most teams were fantastic. Some even better than others, and Trenton was right up there in a very difficult environment where space is at a premium. Like, people are trying to. I mean, when that rink is packed, it's packed. And it's an old school rink, you know? So, but anyway, so let's get the predictions. What's that, Alan?
I was going to say two very passionate and very great fan bases in Milton and Trenton. Trenton have been there over the years. I got nothing but great things to say about them. And Milton, what an organization they are as well. They built it from the ground up, coming from Newmarket in 2019 into Trifon. Jason Trifon's done a great job, and the fans have been great there. So it's going to be a great series.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said before, guys, and I'm going to keep hammering away at this. It's just, Milton is an example to use that within the GTA, you know, there's you can do it. Like, there's an appetite for this. You know, they've hit on us. You know, they got the special sauce. They've hit on something that's really resonated. They're out there in the community. They're involved with Milton minor hockey. Milton is just a great big expanding suburb. But you could say that about a lot of places that don't get attendance. Milton has got attendance. Doesn't help that they have one of the best logos in hockey, best uniforms as well, which appeal to the kids. Doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt. I mean, but I mean, they are just a great example of how to do things in a suburban area. It can work, right? So, so let's do game predictions then, about how many games and everything. Joe, let's start with you. Who are you taking?
Well, I can't go. I look pretty foolish right now going back on my word here, fellas. So I'm going to take Milton, but I would say that, hey, I got a lot of respect for Derek and his staff and the Trenton ownership, as well as Dan and his staff. Jason Trifon's a great owner, but I think Milton, I've said it since day one, and I think they're just a little bit better right now. And I say they take it in 6 games, because I think it'd be really tough to win a 7th game in Trenton. So I'm gonna take Milton in 6. My apologies to Trenton people and Derek Smith, but I can't go back on what I said a month ago here.
You're a good Canadian boy, apologizing for you know,
hey, we have a coaches union here, guys, and you don't really want to burn.
Oh no, of course I know. You got to answer to your buddy after you just went against him in your call, right? So no, you got to.
I'll see them next week, and I'm like, oh boy, no, it's okay. But no, that's it's going to be a whale of a series, but I'm going to stick with Milton, fellas.
Okay, Alan, how about you?
You said both teams are very deep. Both teams have strong goaltending, strong forwards, strong defense. 2 great fan bases, 2 great coaching staffs, 2 great ownership organizations. Like I said, it could go either way, I think, this series, but, you know, it's got the team that has been there 3rd straight year in the Buckland Cup Championship. They're one of the premier organizations in the OJHL, the Trenton Golden Hawks. And then you have the team of destiny, the Milton Menace. And I think right now I can't go against destiny. And I think the Buckland Cup will be lifted and handed to Captain Graham McCauley in Game 6 of the Madhouse. I'm sticking with the same prediction. Milton in 6.
Yep.
Okay, Ron, how about yourself?
You know, there's been a lot of really good teams this year, as you were saying right off the bat, Alex, that could have ended up in the Buckland Cup final. But I think the 2 teams that got there are the 2 teams that deserve to be there.
Good point.
My only concern with Trenton, as I say, is the injury problem they have. If they can get the guys back playing together again. Yeah. But not to take anything away from the people that they brought up, because they've been contributing very well. Yeah. But this really, and you know, the Milton fan base, we were talking about the fan base a little while ago. Milton's been struggling a little bit for attendance sometimes, but now they've been working so hard on the social media right through the town, everything else to build up the fan base. And now I know we're going to have, if it goes 7 games, you're going to have 7 games with you know, pretty full arenas. And I don't know if that's going to make a tremendous amount of difference. These players know, you know, your visiting players know how to tune the home team fans out pretty well. But I may sound like a broken record here, but with after Joe and Alan, but I am going to say Milton in 6. I'd love to see this one go 7, but my prediction is Milton in 6 because of the role they're on, not necessarily because they're the better team. They're 2 great teams. Yep. But because of the what they've got going right now, I'm taking Milton in 6.
So, I mean, I'm looking at the scoring leaders right now, guys, and this is one of the crazy things about Milton, about how powerful they got 5 guys in the top 10 of scoring. Trenton's got 2. Teo Waterchuk is tied for 10th. Corbin Roach comes in at 4th with 21 points, but Milton's, those 5 guys are just absolutely rolling right now. And also, I look at the teams that Milton, I mean, don't get me wrong, Trenton, they didn't have an easy road to it. But Milton, they knocked off Burlington, which we were expecting a really good series. They knocked off the defending Centennial Cup champions in Collingwood. And then they dispatched Leamington in 5 games. Yeah. I mean, they're terrifying right now. And like you said, Joe, they're big, heavy, mean. So is Trenton. Don't get me wrong. They are. Yep. But even looking at, penalties this year, Milton was one of 2 teams in the league, I believe, to be over 1,000 penalty minutes. Yeah. Which is really funny when I say that, because, man, if you look back 20 years, I mean, if there were teams that were over 2,000 minutes in penalties, you wouldn't blink twice about it, right? And now there was 1 or 2 teams in the league. I'm going to actually check this as I'm talking about it right now. But during the regular season this year, there were hold on for a second as I pull this up. I think it was 2 teams. Milton with 10-14, just slightly beaten out by who? The Mississauga Chargers. Joe, you goon, you.
Hey, that's what. Well, there's another reason why.
Sure, the calendar number 1,
right?
10,
we tried to play heavy. We tried to play heavy.
What we consider to be, violent these days in comparison to what it was like 20 years ago is just. Oh, you like your teams to play hard, man. There's nothing wrong with that, right? So, but anyway, regardless, Milton plays that style. I really like Trenton. I've just got Milton is just on this roll right now. So is Trenton. That's why I keep going back and forth. But Milton is just they've got lightning in a bottle right now. I think it's going to be a great series. I am calling Milton. I know I sound like a broken record, just like Ron said. But I'm slightly different. I think they're going to do it back in Trenton in Game 7.
Okay.
I think it's going 7 games, guys. Okay. And again, this could go either way. Like this series is going to be so darn good.
I agree.
Yeah. I think it's going to go either way. But what we're going to do is for our next show, guys, it'll be our last show of the season. We're going to recap what went down in the final. And I think what we should do is we should preview the Centennial Cup as well, if you guys are game for that.
Sure.
Because I know Ron knows all about the teams in other leagues. I also cover the NOJHL. I know about them. Yep. I work with HN Live, which is based out in Alberta, so I know about the Calgary Canucks as one of the teams. So I think that we should also do a little.
That's a good idea.
Touch on it as well, because I think it'd be a fascinating way to recap our season and tee up who Milton or Trenton is going to face in Calgary at the Centennial. Yeah. So if everyone's game for that, then we'll do it in a couple weeks. But gentlemen, again, thank you for lending your time. Appreciate it. I'm jealous. Get out there and watch. Get out there and watch some of those games.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I think it's possibly might be starting Saturday in Trenton. I'm not sure.
I was surprised.
I've heard that unofficially
as well.
Yeah,
so what you're hearing, because Good Friday, guys, listen, that's a pretty spiritual day. I would think that would be tough, but
and the Sunday too. Yeah,
I was really surprised. I just looked on some things before I came on. I know they have the OHL Combine games on, but I'm like, okay, that's a week from now, but they don't have it up, and I'm kind of surprised by that. Are you guys too as well, or is it just me?
Well, I think the fans want to know. I mean, I don't think anybody's really expecting them to start Friday, but it'd be nice for the Milton fans to know when they're going to pack that madhouse.
NOJHL is starting Thursday and Friday, guys.
Wow.
NOJHL is playing Thursday and Friday, so so some leagues are doing it. Yeah.
Tentatively, I've heard game 2 might be Monday night, Easter Monday in Milton. Saturday night will be game 1. That's tentative, but nothing's official yet. So keep an eye on the OJ website for the official schedule.
Yep. Good point.
Absolutely.
Good point, gentlemen. Good point.
Guys, I love having you on. I love doing this. Hopefully, everyone watching, we entertain you. We make you laugh. You can laugh at us. You can laugh alongside us.
I got to tell you one thing,
Just look at
Alex.
me.
Before we sign off, I got to tell you, Alex, I've been talking to several of the players en route to this final. And, you know, the players in the OHL, and I've talked to a lot of them over the season, they are the greatest guys. They really are. They're gentlemen. They're knowledgeable.
Yeah. Well said.
They're friendly. They set up. They give information. That, you know, they're really a good group of guys. 99% of them are. You know, you'd like to have that guy as your son, stuff like that. So I mean, I think I got to give a shout out to those guys, and especially, you know, I've been doing a thing on the captains of the team. But it's not just the captains.
Yeah,
it's the other players too, and they all have that same positive outlook and everything, and that's great for the coaches. I think you get a group of guys like that.
Well said,
100%.
Ron. Well said, Ron.
Alan, you look like you wanted to jump in with something.
Second that. Yeah, I was gonna say I'll go along with Ron a little bit. I'll say the coaches as well, because you know, doing play-by-play for the Rangers and Flow Hockey, your TV, dealing with all the coaches are so approachable. You talk to them you talk to for longer, of course, but a lot of them are always approachable, very friendly, give you the scratches for the game. Joe included, of course. He's always been great to me up in Georgetown or wherever I see him. So kudos to all the coaches for being so commendable to the play-by-play men across the league this year, and hopefully he'll keep up, and I'm assuming he will.
Thank you.
Yeah. I do miss doing my in-person interviews for the OJ Today for stories. And of course I did a lot of them in Mississauga because I used to live in Port Credit. So I'd always be popping in to see Wash before arranging with opposing teams, right? Who were coming in from out of town. And I would do the interviews. Listen, there are worse places to do interviews than the Port Credit Arena. That background, it's just one of the most beautiful arenas out there. But I miss being there in person, doing those interviews with the players and the coaches. They were always, you know, and it's pretty cool. Some of the players looking back, and Alan, I know with your TV that you can look back to some of the guys you've interviewed that have now gone on to the big show.
Yeah, it's
you know,
pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool stuff, man. So, but guys, I appreciate the time. Thank you. We'll do this again in a couple of weeks. Get out there and enjoy those games. It's going to be a good one. Fantastic series, and everybody, thank you for watching. Really, really appreciate it all season long. You know, people tuning in. The reception's been great. We really appreciate it, and we'll be back for one more show to wrap up the finals and preview what's coming up for our OJ team as we head into the Centennial Cup. Thank you so much for watching. Just a reminder, of course, to stay up to date all through the playoffs, check out the league's official social media outlets. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.